Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We are about a week out from the in-person ASHE conference, and we're so excited to be here with you for our second webinar that the Attendee Engagement Committee has put together for you in collaboration with our ASHE partners and folks from the Wellness Committee. My name is Judy Marquez Kiyama, and I am a professor in the Center for the Study of Higher Education at the University of Arizona. And I am joined by my colleague.
Hello,
Shauna.
everyone. My name is Shauna Oates, and I'm an assistant teaching professor at the University of Southern Mississippi in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Wonderful. And we have a special guest today. Amy, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Amy Collinsworth. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm calling in from Boston, Massachusetts. I'm here as co-chair of this year's Wellness Committee.
Fantastic. And most of you have heard from Erin Satterwhite already. She is the magician behind the scenes for so much of the ASHE work. Erin, do you want to introduce yourself too? You're muted.
Of course. So yes, very quickly. Hi, my name is Erin Satterwhite. I use she, hers pronouns, and I am the membership coordinator. So very happy to be here. And let's see, I'm coming from Austin, Texas. I almost forgot where I was. I was going to say Houston because I was there last week. But yeah, I'll pass it back over to Judy and she'll get us started.
Fantastic. Let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so what you see on your screen is a bit of a welcome. We will be recording this, and so it'll be available for folks after on the ASHE website. It'll be available through the ASHE app, the conference app. We have enabled live transcription through Zoom AI for anybody who has either toggled that, requested it, or set that setting up on your own screen. As you engage, we invite you to put your questions and comments in the chat, unmute to ask questions, turn on your cameras if you feel comfortable when sharing. We want you to engage not only here in today's webinar, but with all of the resources that the committees and everyone has put together for you on the ASHE website, and of course, engage in the conference itself. Any additional support that you might need, please contact Erin. She's available and can help navigate that. And we also want to make sure that you know that we are committed to providing a safe, productive, and welcoming environment for all ASHE participants. We have more information on our virtual code of conduct on the ASHE website, and we invite you to take a look at that as well. Next slide, please. We've shared a little bit in our welcome videos with you from the conference committee, a bit more about the land that we will be visitors on during the conference. The 2023 ASHE conference is held on the traditional homelands of the Dakota, Lakota, Nakota, and Anishinaabe, Ojibwe in the city of Minneapolis. Dakota, meaning water, plus Greek opolis, meaning city, and the state of Minnesota. Let's see if I can do this one. Minnesota, Makoshe, Dakota for land of smoky water. And the twin cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul are home to a diverse community, including the largest Karen, South Myanmar, and Somali populations in the US, and the second largest Hmong population, as well as significant indigenous and Mexican populations that call the Twin Cities home, along with many others. You will find on the conference website, on the ASHE website, much more in terms of resources, a longer land acknowledgement. There is a fantastic syllabus that the conference committee has put together for you, a lot of different resources, and so we encourage you to engage with those resources as well. Next slide, please. So what have we been up to? The conference committee and the attendee engagement committee have put together a few things for you leading up to the conference, including our webinar on October 25th, and that was the Getting to Know ASHE webinar. That can be accessed through the ASHE website. And today's webinar focused more on purpose and community planning. We will have a welcome reception for every single ASHE participant happening Wednesday evening, November 15th, 7 to 9 p.m. There will be some yummy treats, and there will be a local DJ Otto, playing some Minneapolis sounds for you. We have an awesome playlist that we've been curating, so we can't wait to see you there. I'm going to pause and turn it over to Amy for some Wellness Committee highlights.
Thank you so much, Judy, and the Attendee Engagement Committee. Well, I'm here on behalf of Wellness as you're thinking about crafting your conference experience, in particular because my co-chair, Dr. Liza Toulouston, and I have been trying to support the conference by creating experiences and structures and moments for us to really honor ourselves and how we can enter ASHE really excited and leave not totally depleted. So just up here on the slide, we've got a little overview of the committee because the Wellness Committee is a part of this revised conference planning structure. So as part of the ASHE conference leadership structure, we're taking a holistic approach to wellness and how it's created and sustained and supported at the conference. So what this means is we're revising some existing and well-loved programs like the ASHE Dash and ASHE Yoga, and also creating broader structures around wellness that help us think about professional wellness, spiritual wellness, emotional wellness. So that speaks to our goals to expand the Wellness Committee's goals, to be broader and more inclusive, and then to establish a programming model that helps us achieve those goals. Do you mind going to the next slide? Great, thank you. So I believe you'll have some time today to craft your schedule. If you're watching this later, we encourage you still to pause and take some time to craft how you'll be approaching your experience. So on this slide, I wanted to highlight a few of the opportunities that the Wellness Committee is offering. I've got 6 total. One of them is something you'll pick up at check-in. It's an interaction sticker where you can indicate your comfort with contact, or another kind of fun get to know you sticker where it says ask me about with a fill in the blank, and you say ask me about, I would say probably my love of reality TV, love and hate of reality TV. We'll also have some other sessions that aren't quite the same paper sessions you're used to, but they are spaces to connect, such as the chat and chill, where we're going to get together, have conversations around professional wellness and writing in community and writing in support of community. As I mentioned, we will have yoga. This year, the version is chair yoga with a very accessible lens and a local instructor who will be teaching that class on Friday. And then the ASHE Dash, which is, well, like I said, well loved. You'll be able to get out into the Minneapolis community, connect with a local place called the Stone Arch Bridge, which of course has a lot of Indigenous connections, and we have resources about what the Stone Arch Bridge is. And that pathway is clearly marked. There are not a lot of turns, there's curb cutouts, and we just encourage you to get out and move and be and get outside. So this is not about a race. This is really just about honoring your wellness, as well as some other sessions. The last one I'll mention is our invited session, which focuses on grief in higher education. And Liza, my co-chair, and I just know that we all experience and deal with grief in so many ways as humans living in this life. And so we wanted to create a space for us to be around the idea of grief, the emotion of grief. And our colleague, Dr. Chinasa Alloway, will be leading that session on behalf of our committee. There's many more things going on, but this is not a Wellness Committee webinar, so I'll pass it back to my colleagues. Or I'm not, sorry, last slide. In honor of not only wellness, but really taking an accessible lens to wellness, we have many physical markers throughout the space in Minneapolis in the hotel. So anything that's wellness related that we have curated is going to have a heart icon by it. That is true in the program book, in the app, I think, and certainly in the physical space. So if you don't have a chance to plan ahead, because of course we're all managing complex schedules, we want you to be able to understand the ways you can engage in wellness in the moment while you're physically there. So go ahead and look for us with the heart.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate that. We will be looking out for the hearts, trust me. So as we move into thinking about, how we connect what we're doing to the conference theme in itself, we originally were going to have, if there were 50 people in here, we're going to do breakout rooms. But since we have a nice intimate group, we won't break out. We would just kind of discuss and have just some small discussions with ourselves right now. So as you're thinking about your participation and your joining us next week at ASHE, what would be, what's one session? Hopefully you got the chance to look at the sessions already, because we have a wonderful booklet. We have it on the app. We have, there are so many ways to kind of already prepare yourself and prep yourself for the sessions. But what's one session, thinking about your own purpose, related to your purpose, possibly even related to your scholarship or research interest, that you're excited to attend? And so, Judy, did we want to go one by one and answer, or do we want any, I was going to say students, no, I'm not in class. Do we want everyone to answer, just whichever one, or how we want to do that? We're kind of open. Kind of want to go with the flow here.
Yeah, let's introduce all of them so we can
Okay.
connect to the theme, and then if folks want to jump in and respond to any, that's great.
Awesome. So of course, we're looking at, our theme, higher ed research, the purpose, the politics and the practices. So that's how we, kind of curated this list. So, again, what's one session that you've hopefully had a chance to look at and note and star that you may be interested in attending this year? And then what would be another session that's related to, the political landscape that could really impact or even affect your current research, or even research that you're anticipating doing? And then finally, what would be a session that would be new to you that you'd like to attend that could possibly influence how you further teach, how you research, how you think in terms of your pedagogy? So if anybody wants to jump in anywhere, we'd love to hear from you.
We'd also encourage, if you're viewing this after the fact and you're viewing the recording, maybe pause for a second, pull up the conference schedule, take some time to browse through it, think about how the different sessions might align with purpose, politics, and practice. The nice thing about watching the recording after is that you can pause us talking along the way and use this as a resource as you build your conference schedule out.
I could offer one I'm thinking about, or one approach I'm thinking about. So I don't know if I mentioned this in my introduction, but right now I'm working on my dissertation proposal. And so for me, I'm just really in the headspace of thinking about refining my methodology. So there's lots of different content areas I think I'm generally interested in, or topics that can broaden my understanding around purpose, politics, and practice. But I think for me, I'm really interested in learning from people's phenomenological approaches in particular, and thinking also about very like human-centered approaches and relational approaches. So I'm taking that approach, which feels different than past years, and also just want to encourage the fact that you have this question about something that's new to you that you want to attend that can influence your practice. I was given that tip as a first-time attendee a few years ago, and I think it could be really easy to go to things that you kind of know something about to deepen your experience, but say taking that risk can not only introduce you to new ways of thinking and being, but new people. So I think we can become really siloed in different, areas that we focus on. So that's just a great way to meet new people.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Anyone else care to share? No, even though this is my first ASHE, my second ASHE as a faculty member, but now my fourth ASHE as an attendee, I learned something new every single year. But this year, one of the sessions that spoke to me, because I I'm a critical disability scholar, and so anything that deals with accessibility, inclusion from the disability lens, ableism, academic ableism, those all kind of like toot my horn, so to speak. And so there's a session definitely that's looking at kind of like intersectional action, kind of versus just intersectional identity of like identifying that intersection, but looking at the action that can kind of be behind that. And looking at also like a history of change through not only with ACPA and with ASHE together. So that really made me say, oh, that could be really interesting. And so hopefully as you all start and continue to look through the schedule, you'll find things that really kind of relate to not only your purpose, but look at your scholarship and also look at what you may be thinking in terms of how you see yourself scholarly in the future also. And as Amy suggested, those of you that are watching, just put a pause right here and go start looking at the schedule if you haven't already, to take a look at that. So we'll go to our next slide. So this was actually perfect because as we look at access and inclusion in terms of our participants, in terms of, the ASHE conference staff, persons that are attending, everything. There are several spaces and several areas that will be open and available for all participants. Like I said, both presenters, both staff, both, everyone. Some of the main things that will be open and available. We'll have, closed captioning for things, making sure that, there is support for those that have any kind of health or food allergies. ASHE as much as possible tries to, be very proactive as opposed to reactive in terms of your needs. And so, these again are just a few of the things that they've been included in terms of helping to be more accessible and inclusive. And, these again are a snapshot. And so there are others also outside of this list. But please, at any time, always feel free to, contact a member of the ASHE staff if there's something that, possibly has been, unintentionally overlooked or not addressed, in a particular situation that speaks to your specific needs, because there definitely will be someone that will be able to get the information or get you access to what is needed for you. So, because we want this conference to be not only valuable in terms of your learning, but valuable in terms of who you are, in terms of inclusivity and accessibility also. So, next slide, please. And these again are just some new things in addition to some tried and true things that will be available. I know for one, when I was a graduate student, the graduate student lounge was huge for me because it gave me a chance to really kind of decompress. I didn't feel as though, I don't want to say like all the eyes were watching me because everyone in there in that space, we were all at the same, in the kind of same realm, whether we were first year students or students that were in a proposal phase or students that were about to defend a dissertation, we were all students, and it just kind of made for a really nice camaraderie, because you're still working, in some ways, reviewing your manuscript or even doing something for a class while you're at the conference. So having that extra space was really key. And so this year, there is, a graduate student lounge. There's a senior scholars lounge, which hopefully in maybe 5 or 6 years I'll be able to be in. There's a volunteer lounge. So there are different spaces that are really cultivated just to be, again, additionally more inclusive and to have you have that additional fellowship and camaraderie with like-minded colleagues and those that are attending the conference. So also definitely check out in the schedule. There generally are always going to be various institutions that have their own, networking receptions. And to my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Jason or Aaron, any reception, unless they state invitation only, they're going to be open to you as an ASHE attendee, whether you're faculty, whether you're staff, whether you're a student. That was one thing that I was always nervous about when I was a grad student. I was like, well, it says this particular I'll say University of Houston is hosting it. But it's free food. Because again, as a grad student, you're pretty broke. Like, so, take advantage of those free food opportunities, because again, unless it specifically says, invitation only, or for, a certain blurb about, who is invited to those particular sessions, take advantage. There are some great receptions. And again, it's another way for you to kind of get, networking and, look at and meet peers and other colleagues and other students or other faculty members at other institutions to, again, build that network with you. So definitely take advantage of those networking receptions. And Judy's going to take us to the next one.
All right, a few more resources and tips for you. Build your schedule, right? We keep talking about be intentional about thinking through your schedule. Use the conference app. Look at the schedule online. You can search by person. You can search through by different days. And you can look at and download the entire full conference PDF booklet to help take with you and kind of manage and build your schedule out ahead of time. Networking, Shauna mentioned this already. Receptions, sessions, ASHE grad community conversations and coffee conversations. I know that some people are nervous maybe about this, like, I don't know, the expectation of networking. I am the type of person that will go kind of stand in the corner because big crowds and having to make small talk and it all feels so overwhelming. But what has helped for me is to reframe it as community building with folks who share right in our interests, share in the work that we're doing. And when I reframed it for myself to really think about it in a place or from a place of building authentic relationships, that was helpful for me. And so it doesn't have to feel like, I don't know, quick small talk networking. It can feel like you really are building a network of support and community in ASHE. And that is what ASHE has been for me over the years. So I'm excited for you all to create that as well. Planning your conference. Again, we have the link to the website on here to plan in terms of arriving and departing in Minneapolis, meals, places to eat, restaurants offsite, restaurants on-site, things to do and see in the Twin Cities. There's so many things that have gone into planning the conference for you so that it's an experience that is holistic, that is meaningful, and that is crafted in a way that is really nourishing your soul. And that's what we want to do for you. Again, any questions, reach out to the conference email address below, conference@ashe.ws. We'll also have a help desk set up during the conference itself. Next slide, please. All right, I know we don't have a huge group, but we can still do this Mentimeter together. So we're gonna ask you really quickly, grab your phone, scan the QR code, and it'll take you to a quick prompt. And the question is that you'll see on Mentimeter is, to ensure your conference experience is a successful one, what is one item that you must pack? And you can enter up to 3 different responses.
And you should be seeing the poll on the screen now. So let me know if you're not.
Yay, we're seeing a bunch of different ones. This is great. Pens, water bottles. Yes, there'll be for sure different water stations for you. Fill up your water, your laptop, snacks, warm gloves. That was mine because we're not going to be in Arizona anymore. Shoe choices, cell phones, your house slippers. Yes, we want your feet to be comfortable and warm. Oops. What else? Insoles. Yeah, lots of stuff about shoes and feet. Listen, we got to protect our feet.
I love the peace of mind. I love that. That is very good.
A good book. This is somebody after my own heart. Yes, I always have a good book with me too. Notebook, peace of mind. Oh my gosh, Jason put in the chat, for those of you who view this later, I get construction worker insoles for the week. So this is, now you know Jason's secrets about how his feet stay comfortable. All right, so we will continue to share these types of tips and strategies. These are things that people sometimes we forget about when we're planning for a conference. Again, because it's not just about having quote unquote work with us, right? But the things that help us to be comfortable and ready to engage in that work. So thank you all for your responses. Look for us at the conference next week. We will be there. We'll be ready to welcome you at the reception again next Wednesday at 7 p.m. We are also having a newcomers networking breakfast and reception on Thursday morning at 7:30, bright and early. There is some delicious food ready for you, and then we will move together into the opening session and ASHE presidential address immediately following at 8:30. In fact, we have a block of seats for us, and so if you're worried about sitting alone or you're not sure where to sit, come to the breakfast. We'll move together into the main session, and we'll all sit together. And then finally, for those of you who are joining us and have just been promoted or received tenure, we have a reception for you. You should have received an invitation, but if you haven't, please reach out to us. And that will happen Thursday at 6 p.m. We're excited to see you. We offer huge thanks to our committee, including my co-chair, Layla McLeod, Liliana Diaz-Soloducan. Of course, Shauna is on with us right now, Heather Schotten, and Dana Michelle Harris. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Amy, for joining us today.
Thank you, y'all. Everyone say have safe travels.